This woman had 55 children, married one of them, and later in life killed him. Hi, it's been a while since I talked about a criminal case. The last one was that girl, the Brazilian girl that was faking cancer in Ireland because she wanted some attention, also money. And in today's video, we are going to talk about Flor de Lis. Flor de Lis is a famous singer, pastor, congresswoman. Talking a little bit about her, Flor de Lis was born in 1961. From a really young age, she was already helping the community and developing and strongly committed to her faith as a Christian woman. For many people, she was always an inspiration. Let's start with how she got famous. Basically, she actually started getting famous in the beginning of the 90s when she and her husband adopted 37 kids at once. All those kids were coming from families that were victims of a mass murder. It happens every day. And she ends up with a total number of 55 kids. Some legally adopted, some just raised by her, and one she got married with. I need to mention the fact that she had 3 biological kids. And with all those motherly feelings and all this love to raise a bunch of kids, half a hundred, actually over half a hundred, she got her own movie. In 2009, she got her own film called Flor de Lis. You just need one word to change. Inspiration. But her story didn't end with just one movie. In 2010, she got into the musical industry, the gospel industry music, releasing several famous albums. And like I said, she was an inspiration for several people. That's why in 2018, she got elected a congresswoman with almost 200,000 votes. Did she really wanted to just help the community, or she just wanted the parliamentary immunity for something? But now let's start about her relationship with her son husband. Basically, she met him when he was a teenager. She was doing a religious service in a favela, and she looked at that young poor boy and said, "This is a kid that I should help." And with that, he started living more in her house than in his house until he became being considered her son because she was basically raising him. But one thing that I need to add to this story is that in the beginning of life, when she adopted him, not legally, that helped her later, he started dating her biological daughter. So she met a poor boy. She decided to help raising him. He started living with her as an adopted son, illegally because no papers were involved. And then the adopted son started dating her biological daughter, which raises a question for me. Did she end up marrying her daughter's boyfriend who was technically adopted by her? Or all this story about her daughter dating him was just to cover that he was in her house too with her? I mean, oh no, he's technically my son and he's dating my daughter. Just said and not like, oh, he's my son and he's actually dating me. Because when he became an adult, she got married with him. No, we don't know why the relationship with her daughter and her adopted son ended up, but we know that when legally he could get married, he got married with her. I need to add another fact. If you're going to adopt a kid to get married with him, why would you choose this ugly one? Just saying, let's continue the story. Don't do it. That's terrible. That's disgusting. But she's cute, but he's like, ugh. I need to mention that he also became a pastor, and together with her, they opened their own church. That's important for the future. Now let's talk about the actual crime. One thing that intrigued people about this whole crime was that she didn't act alone, and she wasn't the one who finally pulled the trigger. Actually, the one that pulled the trigger 30 times. he was shot 30 times. The people involved in this crime were 7 of her own kids. And I need to say, not only 7 of her own kids, but her favorite kids. And one of them, her biological daughter that dated him in the first time. But before they finally got him and killed him, they tried to poison him 6 times throughout 2 years. So she was planning to kill him and trying for at least 2 years. Coming back and forth to the hospital, being poisoned 6 times, he survived. But one day, February 2019, her husband was found murdered in the garage. Not only he was murdered at, but she said, oh, people were trying to rob our house and they shot my husband. One thing that intrigued the police was the fact that he was shot 30 times. When the police noticed that there was something wrong, there was clearly evidence that it wasn't a robbery, it was them who did it. Several of those kids were imprisoned, and even a granddaughter with too. She wasn't in prison because as a congresswoman, she had a parliamentary immunity, so she couldn't go to jail. At first, later, the Congress voted her out. So basically, they voted so she could actually go to jail and lose her immunity. The trial was extensive, not that long. Everyone was watching, trying to understand what was happening. Wow, this woman is an inspiration for me. I go to her church. But with all the evidence and the testimony of several people, including her sons and daughters that were involved in the crime, she couldn't lie or deny anymore. So what their defense trying to do was applying that he was abusive and he was some sort of a monster. So they needed to do it to defend themselves, which they had no evidence, and it was proven to be false, especially including testimony from the other kids that didn't participate in the crime. She chose her favorites and the other ones were like, nah, 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 mother. We're not with you. According to the judge, the crime was a vile and abject revenge because the victim maintained strict control over the family's finances. Control my money, I'll kill you. And managed the conflicts in the house in a rigid manner, not allowing the closest to the accused to be given preferential treatment to the detriment of the other members of the large family. So she had her favorites. She wanted them to have some privilege, and he was like, no, I control most of the money because we are Christians and I'm a man and we have this stupid idea. I control most of the money of our church and you're not going to give privilege to your favorite kids. All the kids will have the same things. And she was like, nah. Grabbed her favorite kids and said, let's murder father so we can get the money. She could just divorce. But they're Christian, it's easier to kill. And with that, she and her 7 kids were convicted and murdered. Some actually involved in the actual crime, and some just as association to the crime. She was sentenced to 50 years and 28 days in prison. Also, 3 more people, including one of them being her granddaughter, were also included in the trial, but they were found innocent. And don't think because she killed her husband, her romantic life stopped. In her 60th birthday, she announced to the world that she was dating this gospel music producer that was at the time 20 years old. She never stopped. And their relationship lasted 4 years. They became fiancés and they broke up last year. I know you cannot believe in love anymore. They broke up last year because according to him, the distance was a problem. It's hard to keep the flame alive with such a distance. Technically, the distance was walls because she was inside of the jail and he wasn't. So that was today's video. It was a creepy, weird, long story. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you had some fun. And I always try to make some jokes, but it's a really creepy story. So, what we learned from this video, if you have a kid, don't let them be near Christian people. They're crazy. Goodbye!
Woo! Bye. You can go now. Bye.